Hello and thanks for joining us on Chasing the Dollar. Ben Damon is my name, here with Adam Pengilly to preview a very big night of racing here on Saturday night at Wentworth Park. We have three semi-finals of the Peter Mossman, and Adam, what outstanding racing we have.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Ben. The heats were very interesting as well last week. A few of the more favourite greyhounds. You look at Chica Destacada, Geelong Amigo, even my tip for the series, Deadly Vein, couldn't even finish in the first half of the field to make it through the semi-finals, but we've still got some of the big guns drawn in the series and looking forward to Saturday night.
Yeah, it should be fantastic. We'll get into it with race number 5. Now, this is a sprint series final. It's a pretty nice looking race as well. How do you find this one?
Going number 3 here, Ben, Shearer's Mate. A greyhound can get the job done for us here on Saturday night. The query is she's drawn outside a whitish runner, but I think she's got enough early speed to clear Tinkerbella Rose going into the first turn. Lands in the first 2 or 3 and is able to dictate the race from there on in. If she can just hold out Chili Sierra in box 5 on her outside, it's probably her race to lose from there on in. The real smoky in the race for mine is number 1, Out All Night. Now, this is a greyhound who probably has limited ability, but does have a little bit of early speed and is drawn to get a glorious run along the rails. I reckon she's a must include for your quaddies. Then I go out to number 5, Chili Sierra, a speed demon on her day who will be in this race for a long way. And number 6, A Lot of Luck for 4th. My numbers are 3, 1, 5 and 6.
Okay, then we get into the main fair on Saturday night. This is race number 6. This is the first of the semi-finals of the Rapid Vite Peter Mossman Classic. It is a very nice looking race. Hooksy will go around, a very, very short price favourite. You thought Hooksy was vulnerable last week. I think he won by 10. What about this week?
I'm still wiping the egg off my face, Ben. He emptied out the pockets last week. Hooksy should to win for mine. The one thing I will say about him is last week he ran 29.47. You have to consider he was first up for 6 weeks last week. You're going to think he's going to derive some sort of benefit from that run. It's a scary thing for the rest of his rivals here. I think he just lands on the bunny here, dominates and dictates from in front, probably runs around the 29.40, 29.50 again and easily qualifies for the final. I might just sneak one other greyhound into my quaddie. That's number 4, Warrior King. I thought it was an absolutely enormous run last week. He had absolutely no right to finish as close as he did. If any disaster does strike the favourite, he's the one I want to be on. Then we go out to number 5, Stilton Blue, a very tough greyhound to get past. He's a sneaky chance of qualifying for the final. And number 8, Oso striking for 4th. My numbers are 3, 4, 5 and 8.
Okay, let's go to the third leg of the quaddie. This is the second of the semi-finals of the Peter Mossman. It's a nice looking race too. The 2 Push It and the 3 Zipping Delta, they'll dominate the market here. You would think the winner comes from those 2.
Yeah, I'd say so, Ben. I imagine they're going to match motors into the first turn there. The one thing I will say about Zipping Delta is early in her career, she wasn't really that great a beginner. She wasn't known for being fast over the first 20 or 30 metres. Over the last 5 or 6 starts, she's really changed that. Ran 29.49 last week. I think even if she doesn't quite cross Push It going to the first turn, I think she might be a little bit too strong over the last 40 or 50 metres. So Zipping Delta at the short price on top for mine. A greyhound I'm not going to go away from is number 7, Unbelief. Now she's going to drawn outside Smashing Sally. He's going to dart towards the rails. Unbelief is going to get an absolute acreage of room to move in the first 40 or 50 metres. She might be a greyhound getting back each way on an each way basis. Then we go out to number 2, Push It. Going in fantastic form at the moment, going for 5 straight. Is a chance of qualifying for the final as well. And number 1, Fire Elusive is the real knockout in the race. My numbers are 3, 7, 2 and 1.
Well, race number 8 is the final leg of the quaddie. It's also the third and final semi-final of the Peter Mossman. It is an outstanding race. Very, very difficult to tip this one, I would have thought. Now, there's some greyhounds building outstanding records here at Wentworth Park. They're in this field. Also, Kibo, that's probably the class. Where do you go for a winner?
Yeah, it's an absolute lottery, Ben. I suggest you play really wide in your quaddies. I'm going with number 2, Kibo here. I think probably the only real reason I leant towards him, he's drawn close to the rails. In a race where there's a whole heap of early speed, he might be able to get the suck run up behind him, save some ground along the rail there, and swoop over the top in the last 50 metres. Hoping the Darren McDonald polish will find a couple of lengths. Last week he was slow away and he's missed the kickies last 2 starts at Wentworth Park, which is a little bit of a concern. But if he can jump with them on level terms, he might be too strong for him over the last 50 metres. Number 5, Corbon Whip, is the obvious danger. She doesn't have a lot of room for error from a middle of the line draw on Saturday night. But if she does jump and lead, she's going to be very hard to run down. She goes in for 2nd. Number 7, Where's the Surf? A greyhound who was much better than what he showed last week. It goes in for 3rd. And even All Strung Out, who was absolutely fantastic behind Zipping Delta last week, it goes in for 4th. Really, really tough race. Going with number 2, Kibo, from 5, 7 and 6.
Okay, Adam, on a tough night, let's get your best bet on the program.
Race 3, number 1, Geelong Amigo, Ben. He was very disappointing in a Peter Mossman heat last week. He's drawn a restricted race on Saturday night, got the gun draw, should be able to get the job done for us.
And give us something at some value.
Yeah, going to wait for a little bit later in the program, Ben. Race 9, number 5, here's Skeeter. She's a greyhound that's probably limited, can't run fantastic time, but in a race where there's not a whole lot of early speed, she might be able to dictate from in front and pitch a winning break.
All right, let's have a look at your quaddie numbers. You're going to have to go wide in that final leg, I would have thought.
Yeah, we'll definitely go wide in the final leg, so we'll try and trim up a little bit earlier. In the first leg, we'll go with Shearer's Mate, Out All Night and Chili Sierra. Now, I probably could have taken Hooksy one out, but I'm just going to throw Warrior King in just in case some disaster strikes the favourite. In the third leg, we'll go with Zipping Delta and Unbelief at some value. And in the fourth leg, we're going to include our first four. They are Kibo, Corborn Whip, Where's the Surf, and All Strung Out.
All right, good luck this week. If you have to tip one now to win the series, who is it?
Oh, I can't go against Hooksy, Ben. He was absolutely fantastic last week. First up after 6 weeks in his heat. He's going to improve throughout the series. If he draws a box in the final, it'll be very, very hard to beat.
All right, thanks, mate. See you next week. And we'll see you next time on Chasing the Dollar.